New season of A Survival in the Wild is out with a man and woman braving the wilderness. The woman is risking her life to catch fish and show off her skills to help her partner. This season's challenge is set in Mexico's arid wilderness, where the Pacific Ocean meets steep cliffs and dense jungles. They'll have to deal with swarms of mosquitoes and pray they don't run into a jaguar. John, the male lead, loves the 21 Days Primitive Survival Show. He's a bank employee who unwinds by watching survival shows daily and has even tried his hand at living in the wild. He figured it would be a blast and a great way to unwind in nature. Molly, on the other hand, is an ICU doctor. She is currently 35, divorced, and raising 4 kids. She looks quite striking and joined the show mainly to attract potential suitors. She's on the lookout for a great dad for her kids. As fans, they just need to last 14 days to win the challenge. They'll get a $100,000 reward. For John, it's like winning the lottery. He gets to chill with a woman and make money. I find Molly a bit puzzling. She goes topless but still wears leggings. Isn't she treating us like strangers? Molly's really anxious about the wild, scared centipedes might crawl into her clothes.
Centipede in my vagina.
See another naked person! Can we hug?
Absolutely.
Ready to get started?
I was born ready out here. She's determined to be out here if we're gonna be awesome partners.
When they met, they were surprisingly enthusiastic and not awkward. Molly had a machete, and John brought a hand shovel. The show gave them a lighter and a metal pot. They have to trek 5 kilometers to survive, and they're both feeling pretty confident. After preparing everything, they set off. They have to hike through dense vegetation and rugged rocky terrain under the scorching sun. They must reach a water source quickly, or they might suffer from dehydration. They chatted as they walked. After getting to know each other, Molly thought John was great and hoped he could become a father figure for her kids. John told her he was there to prove himself, not to be a father figure. After 3 hours, they emerged from the dense vegetation. Their pace was very slow, and Molly was already sunburned and feeling very thirsty. Luckily, they spotted a river, which got them really excited. Molly loved the spot and thought they could fish there. He felt the resources there could meet all his survival needs. Conveniently, there was a large cave nearby, which was a natural shelter. But there were footprints above, which John guessed might belong to large cats, like ocelots or Mexican bobcats. They usually hide in caves to escape the heat. They continued searching nearby and found another cave. This cave had no animal tracks and was perfect for them to live in. Molly also thought it was suitable. After some discussion, they chose to make the cave their home and cleaned it up, saving time on building a shelter. The 3 survival essentials. The first thing is to make a fire. With fire, they can boil water and cook food. Thanks to the fire starter, they quickly got a fire going. Molly was so excited she almost wanted to give John a horse ride as a reward. With fire, they could boil water. Suddenly, they had shelter, water, and fire. Molly thought the challenge was a breeze. She believed the $100,000 prize was almost theirs. Wild water needs boiling to kill bacteria. Drinking unboiled water can cause infections. They let the boiled water cool and were eager to drink it. After hours of walking, they were parched. John went to find firewood, while Molly found a crayfish by the river. Seeing protein right at their feet made Molly's mouth water. She snatched a stick and went for it. Her delicate look is deceiving. She's relentless when it comes to tasks. By the time John showed up, the crayfish had already escaped. Molly boldly declared, saying she'd cook it next time she saw it. By 4 p.m., Molly decided to tidy up the shelter and improve their sleeping area. John gathered hay from the area, while Molly smoothed the cave floor and spread the hay to make a mattress. This was their first night. With fire, water, and shelter, they were doing quite well. If they could hunt some food, it would be perfect. That night, they slept next to each other. The next day, they woke up early, saying they couldn't sleep at all the previous night. They woke up every few minutes, and John couldn't sleep because of bug bites. Today, Molly planned to hunt for frogs, or some tiny river shrimp. The stream was full of tadpoles, but no frogs. John was tasked with finding river shrimp. Although there were many fish in the river, they couldn't catch any. Hunting for food in the river was harder than he thought. Even with river shrimp, they couldn't catch them. In the end, they came back empty-handed. Molly lay on a rock observing and saw a crab in the water. She waded in, ready to dive for the crab, but slipped and fell, legs flailing in the air. A crab almost drowned him, and in the end, he only managed to catch 1 claw. Does that count as a successful hunt? Even though it wasn't much protein, it boosted his confidence. A whole pot of water for 1 tiny crab claw. They were thrilled and eagerly anticipated this hard-earned protein. Their enthusiasm deeply moved John. Soon, the crab soup was ready. They shared 1 crab claw between the 2 of them and savored every bite. That night, they discussed their plans for the next few days. Overall, they felt very confident about the upcoming challenges. It was now the 3rd day. John woke up and began gathering firewood. They needed plenty to keep the fire burning through the night, which had kept them cozy before. Today, they chose to stockpile all the firewood. They knew they needed enough to stay warm through the night. Luckily, there was plenty of wood nearby, and they could easily gather a lot. While collecting wood, John spotted a frog. If they could catch it, they would have a feast today. John swung a shovel and nabbed the frog, making Molly jump with excitement. They had caught their first frog. This made them feel more like survivalists. The frog, weighing a few pounds, was enough for a hearty meal. John was very pleased with this. They roasted the frog meat directly over the fire, even without any seasoning. The aroma of the meat was already mouth-watering. They couldn't wait to taste it, and it tasted like chicken. Just like how foreigners always say everything tastes like chicken. Even though there wasn't a lot of frog meat, it was their first real catch. This sparked a survival instinct in them. When that instinct grows, it will drive them to explore. For now, all they had to do was find food daily, and life was pretty easy. The first 3 days had been a breeze. Molly thought they were nearing victory. I still couldn't believe how relaxed they were. It was already day 4. Today, John aimed to make a trap for small fish and shrimp in the river. Crafting the trap was straightforward. After building the frame, they just had to fill in the gaps. Molly was flattening reed stalks to make weaving more efficient. She couldn't wait to eat something. Even before the fish trap was done, they were already worrying about catching too many fish. Total rookie move. They hadn't yet faced the wild's harsh reality. Soon, they had a conical fish trap with an entrance at the top. Once the fish swam in, hopefully, it will work. They used a rotten coconut as bait, which was too spoiled to eat anyway. John set the fish trap in the water. Since it was their first time using one, they were excited for a big catch. By the 5th day, they woke up not wanting to get out of bed, probably feeling the hunger and exhaustion setting in. After rising, John rushed to the fish trap, only to find it empty, dashing their hopes for a big breakfast. John decided to move the fish trap to a different spot, hoping for better luck. By the 7th day, Molly went west to look for food. She hadn't eaten in days and was both hungry and tired. The fish were too fast to catch. John found a frog in the same spot, but luck wasn't on their side this time. On the 8th day, John checked the fish trap again, each time with high hopes. He emptied the trap, but once again, it was empty. Their confidence was waning, and they weren't as enthusiastic as before. I guess they were entering starvation mode. John told Molly that. He used to enjoy shouting advice at the TV, but now that he's in their shoes, he sees how hard it really is. By the 9th day, John had to spend time every day looking for wood, facing the problem of food shortage. He wasn't sleeping well at night, so he had no energy for work. He tried going out to find food but tripped on the way. Now he was beginning to wonder if he could last. Molly was also exhausted and hungry, pushing through on sheer willpower. She used to be a cheerful and lively woman, but now she looked worried. Even breathing felt like a workout. She felt very uncomfortable. If Molly lay down, John would have to do all the work. Molly was now drinking water to stave off hunger, but in this state, it was tough to see them making it 14 days. Watching her teammates struggle, she knew food was a must. By day 10, finding food was their top priority. John checked the traps daily, but results were uncertain. This time, they finally caught some river shrimp, 2 of them. It took them days to catch just 2 shrimp, far from the bounty they had imagined. Once cooked, they eagerly devoured the shrimp. Molly thought it was the best protein ever. After 10 days of hunger, how could it not be? After eating, Molly felt a sudden burst of energy. Having food in her stomach was amazing. But by day 12, even though the shrimp was tasty, it just wasn't enough. John went looking for wild fruits by the river, but came up empty after hours. Then he saw a lizard. But catching it at the hole's entrance was tough. John waited patiently, then with a few swift moves, he snagged the lizard, unsure if it was poisonous, but decided to eat it anyway. John took it back to the shelter. Molly, nearly collapsing, perked up instantly. Each successful hunt thrilled them. The lizard was the biggest catch John had made, giving them more meat. They cooked it over the fire. Wouldn't soup be a better idea? It might taste even better. But soon, they were enjoying the roasted meat. While John was gathering firewood, Molly accidentally drank a sip of unboiled river water. Both of them were stunned. They hoped she wouldn't fall ill. Even a small sip could cause diarrhea or other issues if she got infected. They just hoped she would be okay. By the 13th day, they were very excited because tomorrow was the evacuation day. Luckily, the river water didn't bother Molly. John checked the traps but came up empty. So, he ditched the fish trap and took it back to the shelter. They chose to do nothing today. They wanted to save their energy for the evacuation. On the 14th day, they checked the map. They needed to hike 5 kilometers to the evacuation point. Once ready, they followed the river and, a few hours later, they successfully reached the evacuation point. After surviving for 14 days, they earned the $100,000 reward. Where will they challenge themselves next? Can't wait for the next episode.